So the Gozanti-Class Cruiser, also known as the Imperial Freighter, was a mainstay of the Empire's small ship fleet. It fit right in, serving next to the Arquitens-class light cruiser and enforcing Imperial rule on planets not nearly important enough for an Imperial-class Star Destroyer. Today we'll talk about the Gozanti's design, its history through its multiple users, and what happened to it after the end of the Galactic Civil War. I'm Colin, and this is Sci-Fi Deep Dive. Remember, if you enjoyed this video, to head down below and hit that subscribe button. So the Gozanti is a 63-meter-long ship that saw many uses during the course of its lifetime. These ships were designed by Corellian Engineering, which is the same company that built the CR-90 Corvette and the YT-1300. It was generally armed with a twin laser cannon on its dorsal hull, and a heavy laser cannon on its ventral hull. As we see in Rebels, the Empire found ways to use it to carry a wide variety of vehicles. In its service, it carried everything from TIE fighters to AT-ATs, and it also saw extensive use as a transport. So like a lot of Corellian Engineering ships, the Gozanti started its life as a freighter. Gozantis were a fairly common sight in spaceports all across the galaxy, shipping goods in and out of the spaceport. They really, however, came to notoriety with the start of the Clone Wars. Several factions in the war found a lot of use in the Gozanti. Notably, this includes the Confederacy of Independent Systems, which used them as a light transport, but the one we see a lot are the various crime syndicates. We know the Black Sun operated a fleet of modified Gozantis used for shipping less than legal goods, and we actually get to see the Black Sun's Gozantis in action in the Clone Wars. When the Black Sun is forced to join Darth Maul's Shadow Collective, their fleet plays a significant role in their overtaking of Mandalore. When the Black Sun carries out their attack on the docks at Mandalore, they carry out that attack from their fleet of Gozantis. Their use with the Black Sun made them relatively popular in the Coruscant underworld, and they were a relatively common sight in some of the shadier portions of the galaxy. But the Clone Wars came to an end and they came into Imperial service. And the Empire made really good use of these freighters. We see them commonly being used as light starfighter carriers, for example. A single Gozanti-class cruiser could carry 4 TIE fighters. This made them pretty good at augmenting the relatively small fighter complement aboard an Arquitens-class light cruiser. The fighters also added a significant amount of firepower to the relatively underarmed vessel, which was necessary because the Gozanti found another key role in Imperial service. The Empire would commonly use the Gozantis to ship goods around the galaxy. For example, we see them used to carry Wookiees to the mining colonies on Kessel. We also see them used to carry kyber crystals bound for the construction of the Death Star. We also see them used as heavy landing ships. Their heavy lifting capacity made them perfect for carrying heavy armor like AT-ATs to the surface of a planet. When the Empire was carrying out assaults on rebel positions, they would often land their walkers with Gozantis. And there's also a few specialized uses. For example, we see a Gozanti used as an intelligence vessel listening in on rebel communications. But in service of the Empire, their primary role really was transporting things, whether those things are Wookiees or walkers. Even though most of the Gozantis we see on screen were during the early days of the Galactic Civil War, we know they were still used during the later days. For example, we see Gozantis landing AT-ATs during the Battle of Naboo. That is, by the way, the Battle of Naboo during the later years of the Galactic Civil War, not the Battle of Naboo that involved the Trade Federation. But what happened to the Gozanti after the end of the war? Well, after the Imperial defeat at the Battle of Jakku, many of them went back into service as freighters. However, not all of them. There were most likely some Gozantis in the Imperial fleet that traveled into the unknown regions to found the First Order. And we know by the time of the First Order Resistance War that they were used as reconnaissance vessels for the First Order, generally piloted by sympathizers who could blend in with the general population of the galaxy. And the last place we see them is there were a few Gozantis present at the Battle of Exegol in Lando Calrissian's fleet. All in all, the Gozanti filled a very important role for the Empire, whether that was carrying fighters to support the Arquitens-class light cruiser or transporting goods. It became a crucial part of Imperial logistics and supporting Imperial assaults. And often escorting it would be the Arquitens-class light cruiser. If you want to learn more about the Gozanti's companion in many of their fleets, the Arquitens light cruiser, I'll leave a link up here to my video on that. And I want you to let me know down in the comments what you think of the Gozanti's age by the time of the First Order. Do you think it's too old to still be used, or do you think it's proved itself reliable enough to still see service? And lastly, if you enjoyed this video, head down below, hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell icon so you get notified when I upload new videos. So for Sci-Fi Deep Dive, I'm Colin, and I will see you next time.